What's up, guys? My name is Ty Zen. Welcome to the cryptocurrency.market channel. This is a trading, investing, and entrepreneurship channel. We focus on sharing with people the real world trading and business experience that we have encountered in our lives to grow and manage a 7, 8, and 9-figure portfolio. So in this video, I had one of my students from Singapore. She asked me, how did I deal with the mental, the failures and the setbacks that I had on my journey to learning to become a consistently profitable trader. And she said that she wants to learn how I dealt with it, because that's more important than when things are going well. Because when things are going well, then everybody's happy, and it's really hard to tell if you are growing as a trader. And so she wanted to learn how I dealt with it, because she knows that I shared with her and all my students that I have lost many trading accounts before I figured out how to learn how to trade successfully. You guys are going to hear my kids screaming in the background, because I'm sitting here watching them with their swim instructor on the they're over here swimming right here in front of the at our new condo in downtown Bangkok on the riverfront at the Chao Phraya River. So when I first, many of you guys know that I came to America as a Vietnamese refugee after the war. And when I came to the US as a refugee, my family was not very wealthy. We were a very, very poor family. And my parents did not have lots of friends, lots of capital, or education. We came from a very small fishing village in Vietnam. And so when I came over there, we lived in a ghetto black neighborhood to save money and reduce our living expenses. And I hung around with the wrong people, and I got involved with drugs. And I went to prison for nearly 14 years for drugs that I didn't have. One of my friends, who I thought was a friend of mine, he did not, he got in trouble, and on the third time he was going to go to prison for life. And he did not want to go to prison for life because of the 3 strikes policy in the state that I lived in. And so because of that, he cooperated with the police, and he set up me and a bunch of other of his friends to take the fall for him. So that's how we ended up in prison. So when I went to prison, that was when I first discovered trading. I saw a bunch of white guys in prison. We were all very poor, and we were all struggling to survive in prison. And I saw a handful of white guys that were in there, and they lived very comfortably while they were in prison. And they were, every day they would be in the prison library looking at the newspapers and monitoring the commodities market of how beans, soybeans, coffee, oil, gold, and a bunch of other commodities were being traded on the market. At that time, I did not know what trading was. I did not know what commodities were. I did not know any of that. If you asked me if I knew what oil, gold, and soybean and natural gas and things like that, of course I know what they are, because I use it every day, and people use those products every day. But I did not know that you can go online or call a broker and buy and sell those products. Okay, so I had no concept of the financial markets, but I would see that these guys were doing it every day, and they would, that was while everybody was smoking weed and getting drunk in prison and fighting and rioting and everything. These white guys, they were just looking at the Wall Street Journal, and they looked at the Investors Business Daily. And they would read it, and they would compare the data and the information from these different newspapers so that they can buy and sell commodities in prison. Now, I want you guys to know that in an American prison, you are not allowed to make money inside an American prison. You're not allowed to run a business. You're not allowed to do anything that produces money or a profit. If they catch you, they can charge you with breaking the law. Okay, so that's not allowed in prison. Okay, so but these guys, they were able to do it anyway because they would look at the newspapers and they would track the price of the commodities. And then when they talk to their friends, to their family, when they come and visit them in the prison, they would notify the family members how to buy and sell the commodities, the coffee, the oil, the natural gas, the gold, and things like that. And that was how they made good money while they were in prison. Okay, I don't know how much money they made, but I knew that they were living better than all the other prisoners in the prison at the time. So that inspired me. That was the first time that I saw someone making money where they were not location dependent. When I grew up in America, I worked in the elementary school years. I worked in the fruit and vegetable fields in Salem, Oregon. We picked every berry that you can imagine: strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. I picked corn. I picked a cabbage, cucumbers. I picked whatever they grew in the city of Salem in the state of Oregon, which is located in the western part of the United States. My brother and I, my family, we would pick it. And during the weekdays, we would go after school and pick the fruit and vegetables. And then during the summer, we would get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and we would go to the farms and pick the fruit and vegetables until the sun went down. And then we would go home. And we saved up enough money, and then we moved down to the state of Texas, where we got involved in the sweatshops. And that's where we would sew clothes. So my brother and I would work in the sweatshops during our middle school years, from around like the 5th grade all the way up until we finished middle school and into high school. So we would do that, and we'd work in the sweatshops, and we would sew clothes. My older brother and I would sew about anywhere between 600 to like 2,000 garments a week. So if it was a simple t-shirt like this, we would knock out like 2,000 or 3,000 of them a week. And if it was a long sleeve shirt, men's long sleeve shirt or something, we would only sew about 500 or 600 of those a week because they were much harder to sew. So we grew up, we did that, and then we saved up enough money, and we came down to the city of Houston, Texas, near the Gulf of Mexico, near the water, because we came from a small fishing village. My dad always wanted to go and work on commercial fishing boats, and so we had an opportunity. After we had saved up some money working at the sweatshops, we went down to the city of Houston, and we worked on repairing the commercial fishing boats, the yachts, and the sailboats down there. So during that time, we did not know what being location independent was. We never heard of such a thing. We did not know that you could make money, we did not know that there was ways in the world where you can make money and not be stuck to a specific location or address or geographic area. We did not know that. We just thought that, hey, you grow up, you get a job, if you work as a machinist or a welder like we did, or as a diesel mechanic like we did, then you have to be near the boat docks to make money. If you pick fruit and vegetables, then you got to be near the fruit and vegetable farms. If you want to make money from sewing clothes, you have to be near the sweatshops or where the sweatshops are at. So because of that, that's all we knew. So when I went to prison and I saw these guys making money from inside of prison when they were not allowed to make money, when they were not allowed to trade commodities inside of the prison, that really opened my mind, and I was fascinated, not because trading made a lot of money. At that time, I did not even know how much money you can make from trading. I had no idea that the most money that one human individual can make is from trading, not from being a doctor, a lawyer, or from any of that. It comes from trading. There's no other career, or there's no other field, or there's no other industry that I know of where one human being can make $1 million by himself sitting in front of a computer, right? Some people say that doctors can do it and stuff like that, but I had 3 heart attacks before, and every time I went to the hospital so they can put some stents in my heart, there was at least 4 or 5 people, the heart surgeon, the nurse, the anesthesiologist, and a bunch of other people were always there to help out. So there's no way they can put stents in my heart without at least 4 or 5 people. Whereas a trader can sit in front of a computer or look at some charts and make a phone call to their broker and actually make trades. And the ones that know what they're doing, they can make $1 million or more in 1 year just from trading. I didn't know any of this stuff when I first started. I just knew that it fascinated me that these white guys were making money while they were in prison, and they were not location dependent. Okay, so that really fascinated me, and that's what motivated me and inspired me to research what trading is and to learn about it, so that someday I can do it. Now, if you would have told me that there was such a thing as, doing phone sales, or selling financial products on the phone, or there's other different career paths that you can take where you can make money and not be location dependent, then I would have pursued it. However, when I was sitting in the prison and there was nobody around me and I didn't know anything, the only thing that I knew about and the only thing that I saw in front of me that I can see with my own eyes was this group of white guys, of 4, 5, 6 guys, and they were making money from buying and selling commodities. Okay, so they were not bullshitters. I knew that that's what they were doing, and that's what they got together and researched and helped each other do every day in prison. Okay, now, like I said, I didn't know how much money they make at that time. They may have made money, they may have lost money, I don't know. Okay, but I know one thing. I know they were living a better life in prison because of the commodities trading that they were doing versus what I was doing. Okay, now at that time, I didn't even know about candlestick charts because they were just using a graph paper in prison, and they were charting the price of the commodity products on a line chart on regular graph paper using an X and Y axis. Okay, so it was later on that they started learning how to draw and calculate the prices to draw a candlestick chart. But most of the time that I saw them, they were doing line charts. Okay, so that's how I was exposed to it. So when I got out of prison, after nearly 14 years in prison, my goal had always been to learn trading. And while I was in prison, I read every trading book that was popular. I had the drug dealers who smuggled drugs into the prison. I paid them to smuggle all the trading books that I can find that was available into the prison, because the prison would not allow us to receive hardback books. We can only buy softback books and send them into the prison. The problem was most of the good traders, they had hardback cover books at that time. So the only way that I can read those books was to pay the drug smugglers to smuggle those books into the prison, and they would have to cut off the hard cover and smuggle the books into the prison. That was not so easy, because the drug smugglers, when I approached them, they thought I was crazy or something, because the size of these trading books were very big. They're not small. And because of that, for example, like the trading book called, I'm not going to say the name of it, because then you guys will go and buy it, and most of these books are all garbage anyway, so I'm not going to say the name of it. But there was one book, one technical analysis book. It must have been as thick as at least 3 fingers thick, and they were the size of a 10-inch or a 12-inch tablet, and it was 3 fingers thick. And to smuggle that book in, it was a big book. It was a heavy book, and it had a hard cover on it. And I paid them to smuggle that in. And the drug smugglers thought I was crazy or something, because they thought I was up to something, doing something that, trying to scam somebody or scam them or something. Because why would I pay, the other people were paying to have that quantity, which is about 2 kilos of cocaine or heroin or anything like that, into the prison, and here I would pay for the space to bring in just one book, one trading book. And so they thought I was crazy, but after I did it several times, they realized that I was not doing something funny or suspicious or or doing something crazy, they realized that I did indeed was serious about learning how to trade, because when they come to my prison cell and spy on me, they would see that my prison cell was full of trading books. There was nothing in there except trading books in my prison cell. When they looked inside my locker, right, or they glanced inside my locker inside my prison cell, they would see nothing but trading books in there. And in the bookshelves I had in my prison cell, there was nothing but trading books in there also. So that's all they saw. So that's when they finally realized. So every time I asked them to smuggle a book in for me, it was no longer a problem after that. Okay, and then when they realized that I was not smuggling LSD or some type of drug hidden inside the book, they started to just give me a discount on the smuggling, because they knew that if they got caught with the book, they would not get in trouble like they do with the narcotics and drugs. So what happened was they would start charging me I think 3 or 4 times the cost of the book. So if the book cost me $50, I would have to pay around $150 to $200 for them to smuggle that book into the prison so that I can read it. So what happened was, when I got out of prison, the first thing I wanted to do was to go and learn how to put an order in to buy a stock. Okay, so I can do all the technical analysis to buy a share of stock, but at that time I did not know how to use a computer, so I did not know how to buy a share of stock. So I would go to all these conferences, I would go to all these seminars, I would go to all these meetups in the city of Austin, and to find someone so that I can learn how to put in an order to the broker. And well, first of all, how to open up an account with the broker, and then how to submit an order to buy a share of a stock. And that took me almost a year before I finally met a trading coach that I'll call this trading coach Mr. Apple, okay, because he used to trade a lot of Apple. He was the first guy I met. This guy, Mr. Apple, right? He was the first guy that I met that put in an order to buy 10 shares of a stock in front of me. Before that, I never saw someone buy a stock. I never saw. I read, and it was so frustrating for me because I had read dozens and hundreds of trading books, and now it was time to actually buy one share of a stock, and I could not do it. And it used to make me really mad, because I used to go to the trading conferences, I would go to the trading seminars, I would go to the trading meetups, and I would talk to people about how to do technical analysis. I would talk to people about how to find the right stocks. And if you met me at that time around 2006, 2007, you would swear that I am a badass trader. But the reality was, I did not even know how to open up an account online, and I did not even know how to submit an order to the broker just to buy one share of a stock, right? If you wanted to make me look bad in front of someone, all you would have to do is say, hey Ty, you're talking all this stuff about trading, and you sound really good and intelligent, and you sound like a good trader and everything. Let me see you buy one share of Microsoft or one share of Apple stocks. Just let me see it, right? I would be at loss because I would not know how to do it. Now, I would not lie to you about it either at that time. And I did not go around pretending like I knew how to make money from stock. I just knew how to regurgitate and repeat the information that I read from all those dozens of trading books that I had read when I was in prison. So it sounded like I was very educated about trading, but the reality was I didn't know shit about trading. Okay? So, and when people, and I would tell everybody that I meet also, it's not like I lied about it or try to hide it or try to pretend like I was a good trader or something. I would tell people that I did not know how to put in an order to buy the stocks. I know how to do the technical analysis. I know how to know, where is a good place to buy and everything, but I did not know how to buy the actual stock itself, okay, until I met Mr. Apple, and that's when him and his team and his company and everything started coaching me and teaching me how to put in orders to buy and sell stocks. Okay, so Let's fast forward from 2007 when I formally learned how to trade stocks from Mr. Apple and the company that he worked at, okay, the trading school that he worked at. So from 2007 until 2010, right, I had become a better trader, and now I know how to put in orders, I know how to set up accounts, and I used to go up to the trading school and volunteer to help them because I did not know anybody else that knew how to trade except for the people like Mr. Apple and the guys around him. So I would go up to their school and I would volunteer my time to help other students, and I just knew that I had to be around other traders. I cannot be around a bunch of idiots or around people that do not trade for a living. So I had to go there. But the problem that I had when I was working at when I was volunteering at the trading school on my own time was that there was hundreds of traders there that were students, and then there was hundreds, 100 and something traders, 150 trading instructors there. And at that time, I did not have enough knowledge, enough skills to know which student at the school was actually a profitable student and which trading instructor there was profitable. Okay, and it was really hard too. And even if you did find out that a trading student there was profitable, it was extremely difficult to determine if that trading student was a consistently profitable trader, because trading is a very individual, lonely skill. It's a very individual and lonely business. So it was really hard to just it was very, very hard to find who were the profitable students and who were the profitable trading instructors. Now, I knew that not everyone is a consistently profitable trader, and I knew that not everyone was a profitable trader. Okay, so I knew that the percentage of profitable traders were always going to be less than the percentage of unprofitable traders. And that's the same thing in life. Whatever you do, if you go play soccer, if you go become a software engineer, if you become a scientist or an astronaut, the number of people that are successful are always smaller than the number of people that are unsuccessful. No matter if you take 100 people to go learn trading, 100 people to go learn singing, 100 people to go learn how to be a pilot, 100 people to go learn the piano, the number of successful people will always be smaller than the number of unsuccessful people. Okay, so I knew that. So I had no fantasies or no unrealistic views about meeting consistently profitable traders. Okay, so between 2007 and 2014, I traded a very small amount because at that time, between 2007 and 2010, during that time, I borrowed money from somebody else because I had invested all my money into my trading education. So I had no money left to trade. So I borrowed money from other people to trade. And when I was borrowing money from other people to trade, we would sign a legal contract where I borrowed the money from them. And I put down that I would risk so much at a time. My stop losses were so much at a time. And at that time, I stuck to those rules 100% because I did not want to break the contract and the agreement that I had with the people lending me the money, right? I was so afraid that if I lost that money and I broke the agreement, that they would take the money back, the capital back, and I would have no money to trade. And I knew that this was my only opportunity. I grew up in the ghettos, in the poor ghetto black neighborhoods in America. I came as a refugee. I dropped out of high school. I was in prison for nearly 14 years. And this was my only opportunity to get ahead in life. And so I did everything that we agreed to in the lending agreement where the investors loaned me the money, okay? So I did all that. However, even though I was profitable, for some reason, I could not scale. Like, I would make $10 profit, I would make $20 profit, I would make $100 profit, but I could not scale. And at that time, I always thought that it was my money. I did not realize it was the method that I was controlling my bet size could not scale. Okay, I did not know that. And the people who were teaching me how to control my bet size, they were not teaching me the correct way, because they had not made money consistently trading in the stock market, and that was the reason why they did not know the correct bet size, the correct way to control my bet size correctly during a trade. So I was learning from people, even though I learned how to open up accounts, I learned how to submit orders, I learned how to do technical analysis, I learned how to identify trends and everything. There was one piece of the puzzle that they did not know how to teach me, because they did not know it themselves, right? Or at least the people that were teaching me, there's 150 instructors there and at the school, and not all of them knew how to control their bet size correctly in a trade, right? Only a small, very, very small handful of instructors there actually knew how to do that, all right? And at that time, I did not know enough about trading, did not have enough experience, and did not make enough money in trading to know who to identify was the consistently profitable traders among the students or the instructors there, all right? So what happened was, I ended up wanting to try like other techniques, other things, other technical analysis, and just other trading strategies. And so I was able to return the money back to the investors and pay them the amount of profit that we had agreed to, so that I was no longer obligated and responsible to trade their money, right? So this was the first time that I went out and started trading my own money, okay? Now, when I started trading my own money, that's where the problems, big problems started to come in. Because before, when I traded my investors' money, I was so afraid to lose that money and lose an opportunity to become a profitable trader that I did not dare to do anything wrong outside of the contract and the agreement that I had signed with them. But now that I'm trading my own money, I would take unnecessary risk that was extremely dangerous that I did not know at the time. So I would take the risk and I would double my account in a month. Which, if someone tells you that in trading, you have to be really careful. How much risk are they taking? Now, if you double your portfolio, if you have a small portfolio like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $30,000, $40,000, less than $50,000 US dollars, if you double your account in the cryptocurrency market in 1 month, that's possible. That's possible, but you're taking extremely huge amounts of risk. Okay. Now, if you do that in the stock market, or the futures market, or the forex market, or any of the traditional asset classes, you are taking ungodly amounts of risk to do that. I mean, you can either double your account or lose everything. So that's not really trading. Anytime that you can lose your entire account, you're not trading, you're just gambling. So at that time, I took the risk and doubled my accounts. And when I say double my accounts, we're talking about during this entire time when I'm trading the traditional asset classes. I just want you guys to know that I never traded an account bigger than 30,000 US dollars. Okay, it was usually between 5,000 to between $2,500 to $30,000 was the max that amount of money that I ever had in the traditional asset classes. Okay, and on average, it was between $5,000 to $10,000 per account. So when I tell you guys I blew out my account, which means I lost everything, or I destroyed my account, or I burned my account, just know that on average it was between $5,000 to $10,000. Okay, and then it would take me 3 to 6 months to save up money and reload my account with another $5,000 to $10,000, and then I would go and then try to trade again, and then I would lose everything again. Now, if you asked me at that time when I was trading between 2014 between 2010 and 2015, during those 5-year period, right? If you ask me, hey Ty, are you a profitable trader? I would say yes, because I'm not lying to you, because there was many times where I would make large amounts of profit, 50% profit, 70% profit, 100% profit, 200% profit. So if you ask me, Ty, did you make profits at that time? The answer is yes, I did. And if you ask me, did you make it consistently, right? I would say probably not. The answer would be no, because I would make it, but I don't know when I would make it again. It's not like right now where I know that I'm gonna make money in every bull market. Every bull market, in the crypto bull market, I'm gonna make a shitload of life-changing profits. Okay, I'm gonna make several millions of dollars in every bull market. Okay, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Okay, and I know that, and that's why I'm 50 years old now. I was able to retire since I was 44 years old. So I've been retired since 2017. Okay, and the only reason why I'm able to do that and buy, $1 million condos like this one, right, is because I know that I can do it consistently. I quit my day job and everything, and I'm able to, I homeschool my kids. I take them out of the school and everything, and afford to be able to do all these things. And that's the reason why I'm able to do that, is because I know for a fact that I can consistently make a profit in every bull market. Okay, now I'll make a profit in the bear markets too, but the problem is the amount of profits that I make in the bear markets is so small compared to the amount of profits that I make in the bull markets, that I don't even waste time, saying that I make money in the bear markets. Okay, so just so you guys know that, all right? So what happened was, between 2010, between 2015, I would make money and I would lose my account. And then I would have to save money, reload my account, and then double my account, triple my account again. My portfolio size, I would double and triple it. And then I would do something stupid and I would lose it. And then I would have to wait, reload my account again, and then double, triple my account, my portfolio again, and then lose it on something crazy, and then do it, right? And every time I would double my portfolio, right? I would double my portfolio or triple my portfolio. I would do it usually in less than a month. Okay, there would be a huge bull run in the markets, and I would jump on it. I would take advantage of it, right? And I would double my account. And then when there's a huge crash in the market, I would try to short it and do the exact same thing that I was doing on the upside. But then when I try to short it and I do it, I would end up losing my entire portfolio again. All right. So as fast as I made double my portfolio, is just as fast I would lose my entire portfolio. And this was very, very frustrating. Okay, this was very, very frustrating. And I remember in 2014, right, I had an epiphany. An epiphany is a light bulb moment, or an aha moment, or I had a breakthrough or a big discovery in my trading. And I realized that there is something wrong in the way that I control my bet size. Because when I control my bet size correctly, right, let me go back in history, okay? Between 2007 and 2010, I realized that I used a consistent bet size, meaning that I would go in and I would bet a certain percentage of my portfolio, and I would go in and then I would come out. And at that time, I would use a dollar amount, a fixed dollar amount. No. In the beginning, I used a fixed share size amount. In other words, when I started trading, I would trade only 10 shares according to my instructor. I would only trade 10 shares at a time. And then when I showed that I was profitable 4 out of 5 days, then I would double it to 20 shares at a time. And then when I showed that I was profitable 4 out of 5 days, then I would double it to 50 shares at a time. So my bet size at that time was just based on share size, which is not the correct way to do it. Okay, just so you guys know, that is not the correct way that a beginning trader should learn how to trade, right? The correct way should always be based on a percentage of your portfolio, whether it's 1%, 0.5%, 1/4%, 1/8 of a percent. You should always use a percentage of your portfolio, and never, I should not say never, but the majority of the time it should be percentage of the portfolio. Like in the beginning, when I coach or I train new traders, I would have them do like 5 shares or 10 shares if we were doing a stock, just because it's much easier and faster to do that than it is to do the the percentage because there's too much math involved there. But once the student shows proof that they know how to submit an order, then at that time I start switching to a percentage of the portfolio. So after about 50 to 100 live trades, I would have my students switch from a share size to a percentage of portfolio so they can start learning how to control their bet size. Okay. Now, I keep saying the word bet size, guys. I know that on Wall Street it's called position size. All right. I purposely call it bet size because when I say position size, it just confuses the shit out of most students. All right. Everybody knows what a position is. Everybody knows what a size is. But when you combine those two words together, position size, it just confuses the shit out of people. And I've seen so many students confused by it that I started using the words bet size because everybody knows what a bet is. Everybody knows what a size is. And when you say bet size, they still know what it means, right? So that's why I say that. So if some of you guys are jumping on my ass about why I'm using the word bet size instead of position size like they do on Wall Street, that's the reason. It's just to eliminate confusion from my students, okay? So there's certain things that I will be traditional with about trading when I'm teaching trading, but there's certain things that from my teaching experience, it just confuses the shit out of students and beginners. So I changed the word up so that they understand what it is, okay? So anyways, between 2007 and 2010, I used a fixed share size, and then I started to realize something's not right here. So I changed it to using a percentage of bet size, going from I use instead of bet size based on share size, the amount of shares, I started to control my bet size by using the dollar amounts. So I would just pick random dollar amounts like, hey, you know what? I don't want to lose more than $10 a trade. I don't want to lose more than $50 a trade, or I don't want to lose more than $100 a trade. So that's what I would use as my bet size, which is still wrong, okay? And somewhere around 2010 to 2012, somewhere around 2012, 2013, somewhere around 2013, 14, I started to realize that I cannot use a share size or a dollar amount as my bet size. I have to use a percentage of my portfolio. So I started using the percentage of my portfolio, but there was still something that was missing. I started at that time around 2013, 14. What I would do is I would start increasing my bet size in a winning trade. Okay, I would start adding more to the winning trade, right? And the problem was I'm not one of those Asian guys that's very good at math, so I did not clearly do it correctly. I was doing the right strategy, but I was not doing the strategy correctly. In other words, when you are in a winning trade, you have to add more to a winning trade. That's the correct strategy that every trader should do. However, I did not know when and how much to add to it. When do I add more, and how much do I add when I do add more? When I increase my bet size, how do I do it, and when do I do it, and how much? When and how much? Okay, those are the two questions I could not answer, right? So because I'm not very good at math, I did not know how to figure it out on my own. So I would try. Now at that time, right, I did not know that I was doing it wrong. Like no matter what approach that I was trying to do, I was doing it wrong. I did not know it though, because my math was not good enough to realize that I was doing it wrong every time. The approach that I had was just completely wrong, and the more I continued to do it, the more money I would lose. But I did not realize that. I thought that, hey, if I try these different variables, that I would someday figure out the correct variable that was gonna make that I would know how to add to my winning trade correctly at the right time and the right amount. Okay. And so I remember in 2014 I was in San Diego, and I was with a trading instructor named Rick. Okay. And we had finished teaching a class, and we went to go eat dinner at a Chili's restaurant, okay, in the city of San Diego, which is in the southern part of the state of California. All right, so we were sitting there eating, and I remember telling Rick, right, now this guy is a pretty arrogant trader. When you first meet him, he's a very arrogant, very cocky trader. Okay, and he's well known at the trading school to be a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch. Okay, now the problem is whenever somebody calls him an arrogant, cocky son of a bitch, right? They were usually either they didn't know how to trade, or they were usually not very good, and not they were not known to be a good trader. So I never cared what people said about this trading instructor named Rick. I never bothered. I never cared what other people said, because to me that was just haters, people who hate other people. Now, did I like Rick's attitude? No, I didn't. Whether you're good or not, I don't believe that you should be cocky and arrogant towards other traders. Okay, but I had that dinner with him, and it completely changed my view about trading. It changed my view about Rick, and it changed a lot of things about my outlook on trading and the person Rick in general. Okay, so I thought he was cocky and arrogant too. Okay, because I've worked with him multiple times, and each time he displays the same cockiness and arrogance. Okay, about trading. Okay, other things he didn't display cockiness or arrogance about, but specifically with trading, right? He was very cocky and arrogant in front of other traders and in front of his students at the school, and everyone knew that. Like, we all knew that. Okay, so it was understood, and but he was a good trader, so everyone respected him, right? So what happened was I talked to him and I said, "Hey man, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I would double my portfolio in a week, in a month, when the market gives me an opportunity. But at the same time, I would give all that money back in a week or a month too, just as fast." And I told him, and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, I told Rick, I said, I realized that in order that the majority of my trades are going to be losers. I told him, like, 66% of my trades are losers and 34% of my trades are winners. And inside those winners, and I told Rick, I said, "Hey man, this whole time I thought that I should have more winning trades. But when you are a trend trader, you cannot have more winning trades than losing trades. If you do, you are not a trend trader. You are a scalper. Okay, you're just scalping little nickels and dimes out of the market, small profits. You're not looking for big chunks of profits that can change a person's life." And I said that in order to do that, you have to ride out the trend. And in order to ride out the trend and capture that big profit when you're right, you have to increase your bet size as the trade is going in your favor, in a winning trade. And he goes, "That's correct. I agree with you." And I said, "How come no one ever told us this?" He goes, "I've been telling my students. I tell people all the time, but they don't want to fucking listen." And I said, So what Rick did that day was he confirmed to me that if you want to capture big winners, the winners that the profits are so big that they change your life, you have to increase your bet size as the trade is going in your favor. All right. So what I did was, and I told him, I said, "I'm doing something wrong because I know that I have to increase my bet size. Just on my own, I discovered that you have to do that. However, something about the way that I'm increasing my bet size is not correct." Okay? And so when I sat down, I drew out on a napkin, as he and I were having the beers and waiting for the food to come, I drew out on a napkin how I was adding more money to a winning trade. And he looked at me, he goes, "That's the reason why." He goes, "You're doing the math wrong." He says, "You're doing the math wrong. That's the reason why you're screwing it up." He goes, "If by accident you're going to double your account or make a large sum of profits, but if you happen to do it wrong just a little bit, you're going to lose your entire account, man, your entire portfolio, because that's the reason." So he spent some time with me that whole night during dinner and after dinner, and and he explained to me why my math was wrong. So that was because his math skills were much better than mine, right? In America, most of the Asian guys are good at math. They're the ones helping the white guys. In this case, this white guy, Rick, is the one helping me with math because I fucking suck at math, right? So, but I was able to understand the math that he was doing and why it was wrong, why my math was wrong. So after that, I realized, okay, I gotta eliminate this, the way that I'm adding to my winners. That's Adding to my winners is correct, but the way I was doing it was mathematically incorrect. And it's only by luck that I was able to capture a big winner and double my portfolio. But I can also lose my entire portfolio at the same time. So the math that he showed me, right, allowed me to be able to make life-changing profits when the market gives me the opportunity, but it prevents me from losing my entire portfolio when I'm wrong. Okay? Hey, you guys, come over here. Go back to your teacher. Okay? And so, hey, focus on your swimming teacher. Okay? So what happened was, during that time when I was trying to figure all this out, I must have lost a dozen portfolios. Like I just burned up my accounts and had to wait 3 to 6 months to reload my account again, and my account would grow, and then boom, I would lose that. Grow, and boom. Now, after I talked to Rick that night, I would say that was the first big game-changing moment. Besides meeting Mr. Apple and learning how to put in an order to buy a share of stock, that from 2007 when I met Mr. Apple to 2014 when I had the dinner with Rick, that was a span of 7 years it took me to before I made a huge breakthrough in trading. Okay, and that at that time I knew after Rick showed me how I was doing the math wrong, I knew for a fact that I was going to become a consistently profitable trader from then on. Okay, but now it's still, just because you learn something, a new skill, it still takes time to implement that skill. Okay, so just because you understand it in here doesn't mean that you can immediately apply it in the real world. I knew that there was going to be a time from the time I understood it, what Rick said, to the time, I understood it here, but I knew there was going to be several months, maybe a year or 2 years before I can implement exactly what he just taught me, because I'm slow in math. Okay, I'm not very good at math, so I knew it was going to take some time before I implemented correctly. And then I had a good friend who was also a trading instructor at the trading school, and his name was Scott. Okay, there was 2 Scotts there that helped me, and this is the older Scott, not the younger Scott. Okay, matter of fact, this Scott is from Las Vegas, so I'll just say Las Vegas Scott instead of the Orlando Scott. Okay, now I'm purposely not telling you their full names, guys, because I want to protect their privacy. Okay, but Las Vegas Scott, when I met him, right, he was a really good trading instructor, and he knew how to teach trading and how to break it down into stuff that you can understand and say it in a way that you can understand. And he's very patient. That's one thing I give him a lot of credit, because I'm not very good at math. So when I was bugging him about different trading concepts, he was like one of the most patient trading instructors I've ever met in my life. Okay, and he helped me in 2 ways. He helped me, and he was the third guy that I would say was one of the biggest influences. You know what? I left out one guy. If I don't say his name, and he ever sees this video, he's gonna jump on my ass and chew my ass out. The first guy was Mr. Apple, who showed me how to put in an order. Okay, and there was another guy named Kevin. Okay, and Kevin was the guy who used to work at Cyber Trader, okay, before they got, who used to work at Charles Schwab, and he helped develop the order routing technology the smart order routing technology that everyone uses right now. So he was the one who taught me how to read price action, okay, better than anybody else I've ever met. Even till this day, I've not met anyone that comes even remotely close to Kevin in teaching someone how to understand price action. Okay, no fucking bullshit indicators, no fucking bullshit MACD, RSI, Ichimoku, none of this shit, right? He was the first trader that I ever met that showed me how to read the price of that stock or that forex or whatever it is that you're trading, and just look at the price and read it and know and have know how to trade, and not rely on indicators or technical or any of those stupid things like that, because all that stuff is just secondary information that's based on price. And if you know how to read price alone, you don't need some indicators to interpret it for you, or another person to interpret it for you. You just look at the price and be able to read it. Okay, so he was the one who helped me. Kevin was the one who helped me learn how to read the price, similar to someone learning how to read, similar to that French guy learning how to read that stone, the Rosetta Stone, and figuring out how to read the Egyptian hieroglyphics on the pyramids. Okay, so that's what Kevin did with me. So he was actually the second trader that was a big influence in my trading. The third one was that guy Rick, and now I'm going to talk about the fourth guy, which was Scott, Las Vegas Scott. Okay, so Las Vegas Scott, I would say, is the one that made the biggest impact on my trading out of all the trading people I've ever met in my life, even more so than the other guys. And he was able to show me different models and different strategies on how to increase my bet size and decrease my bet size, which is the key to trading. If anybody tells you, let me say this, it's the key to trend trading. If you're a trend trader, if you don't know how to increase and decrease your bet size as a trade is going in your favor, then you're not going to be able to make big life-changing profits like we did. Okay, and so Scott, I explained when I met Scott. I said, hey man, I met this. I talked to Rick, the other trader, and this is what he told me. And this is the missing piece of the puzzle that I've been struggling with, right? And Scott said, he's correct. And what Scott told me next really surprised me. He goes, that's not the only way to do it. He goes, there's several other ways to do it too. And he went to show me several other ways, and he went out of his way to help me understand probability and statistics in math. Okay, the math field called probability and statistics, and that was a huge game changer in my mind to finally understand that trading is a game of probability and how it works. I mean, we went as far as Scott went as far as taking me to the casinos, and I invested several $1,000s of my own money on the roulette wheel just so that he can show me how statistics works in the real world and how probability works, and I bought a stack of $5 chips, and I was betting on red or black. Now, keep in mind, guys, I don't even gamble. I don't know nothing about gambling. I don't know anything about that, okay? But that was the only casino game that I knew, that I understood. Like, you bet on black or you bet on red. I mean, like, how hard is that, okay? So that was the only one that I understood. And so I remember Scott spending the whole freaking night, man, the whole night. And he would stand there and just, even though it was getting late and we had to go to work the next day and teach a class and everything, he didn't care. He stayed there until I had the breakthrough moment and understood how probability works, okay? And from that day on, I can honestly say that I understood probability. And there was no doubt in my mind that once I implemented what he taught me and what Rick taught me, that I was going to become a consistently profitable trader. And I will never, ever again be a losing trader. Okay, now that was in 2014, and it took me about, since I'm slow in math, guys, I'm not the smartest Asian guy out there when it comes to math. Okay, it took me over a year. Let's just round it off and say 2 years just to be safe. It wasn't until 2016 that I implemented what I learned from Rick and from Las Vegas Scott, and about increasing and decreasing my bet size correctly. And not just, let me say this, it didn't take that long to implement it. It took that long to figure out which process, which percentage suits my personality and my risk tolerance the most. Okay, so I have a big appetite for risk. I'm willing to take big risk in the markets. So, like, even though Scott Las Vegas, Scott, and Rick are good traders and they take big risks, it's nowhere the amount of risk that I'm willing to take in the markets, okay? So because of that, my trading style, even though I teach a very conservative style to our students, right? I am a big risk taker. It's natural. Even if you tell me to be conservative, it's very hard. Like among me and my team with LeonFu.com and with David, like I'm the biggest risk taker in trading, okay, among them. And they're telling me all the time, like they don't see why I need to take that risk, okay? Now, as my portfolio has gotten bigger and bigger, guys, I cannot afford to take that kind of risk I used to take anymore, okay? So I've had to take less risk, and also because I'm busy with my kids, like I don't know if you guys can see in the sun or not over here, right? I'm spending more time with them, so because of that, I just don't have time to be in front of the computer taking the risks that I used to take anymore. So, and I've come to realize now that even if I make more money, I'm not able to increase my quality of life or spend it all in my lifetime. So that also has prevented me from taking any big risk in the markets anymore, simply because there's no benefit to it. You know, whereas before, when I was taking that kind of risk, right, I would make big money. Okay, so now by 2016, I finally realized I found I dialed it in, I've tested it, and I found the correct percentage bet sizes that's comfortable for my risk appetite. Okay, so by 2017, the bull market hit in the crypto market, and I took full advantage of that and was able to retire afterwards. Okay, so all it took was one bull market for me to retire. Okay, so during that time, between like 2010 and like 2014, when I was trying to figure out, when I was in the process of discovering that I needed to increase and decrease my bet size in a winning trade, like I said, I lost my account about a dozen times, my portfolio a dozen times. I had to save money, reload it a dozen times. But the whole time, what is sad is that during the whole time that I was doing it, right, I was so focused on becoming a consistently profitable trader that I did not keep good records of my losses. So sometimes I would lose I remember I remember losing my portfolio at least like a dozen times, 10 or 12 times. And if you ask me, hey Ty, how many times have you reloaded your portfolio? I would internally not even be aware how many times I have lost my portfolio. If you ask me, I would say, oh, probably 2, 3, 4 times, that's it. But actually it was double that amount, triple that amount. But I was not aware of it because I was so focused I was so intent on making this breakthrough in trading. I knew that I was so close, you know, and I had wanted to give up like several times and just quit trading altogether. But I knew that I had made all these mistakes and there's no more mistakes left to make. Every mistake that I can make in trading, I have already made it at that time. And I knew that I was just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 mistakes away from having this big breakthrough where I would make life-changing profits in my trading. I knew that. So that prevented me from quitting and giving up. So if you guys ask me, hey Ty, how did you lose your account so many times and reload your account so many times and not quit trading or give up on it, right? Because my goal had always been to be able to make money and not be location dependent. And up until that time, trading was the only thing I knew. And you guys might say, hey Ty, there's other things that you can do that's not location dependent to make money. Why didn't you just quit trading and go learn a new skill that makes money that is not location dependent, right? And you guys might say that's easy, but to me that was not easy because mentally I had already made so many mistakes in trading that I knew that what other mistakes can I make in trading? I just knew that if I just get it correct, that there was one piece of the puzzle I was missing that was going to take me to the other side to make life-changing profit. So that's the reason why I stuck with trading. I didn't want to start all over with a new skill, a new industry, or a new niche that I had to start learning all over again and take another 5 to 10 years to learn. So I gave myself 10 years to learn how to trade and become a consistently profitable trader. The reason why I gave myself 10 years was because everyone told me that it would take, it would take 4 years to finish college. So I said, hey, you know what? Instead of going to college for 4 years, I'm gonna learn how to trade. And instead of when I initially I planned that if I had to go to college, I would probably take 5 years because I'm a little bit slower. I'm not as smart as most guys when it comes to academics. So I knew that I would take about 5 years instead of 4 years, right? So I said, you know what, in trade, I'm going to double that and give myself 10 years. So if you ask, how did you come up with the number 10 years to learn trading? Well, that's how I came up with it. I said, hey, you know what, I'm not as smart as those other guys. So if I did go to college, it'd probably take me 5 years to get a college degree. And since I'm learning how to trade, which is a completely new skill, which I've never heard of anybody else talk about, I'm going to give myself 10 years and double that time. So from 2007, 10 years will be 2017. So by 2014, 2015, it had not been 10 years yet. So that's why I did not give up. I did not quit, right? And so by then, I had learned from Rick and from Las Vegas, Scott, and I knew by that time that I got this now. I understand the math now. I know what I'm doing wrong. I got the math correct now. Now it's just to figure out what is the exact percentage that fits my risk tolerance and my personality, okay? So that's how I got, and that's why I knew what my goal was. My goal was that I wanted to make money and not be location dependent, right? So that was my goal. And my second goal was that I wanted to learn a skill where I make money and 100% of the responsibility for making that money is on me and not on an assistant, not on an employee, not on anybody like that, okay? I don't want to rely on assistants. I don't want to rely on somebody else to make the money, okay? I want that if I make money or lose money, it's 100% my responsibility, and there's no way I can blame any other human being for me not making money, right? So that's another reason why I did not go look for a new skill or a new money-making skill. I stayed focused on trading, and what I did was I focused on that, and that's why I never gave up. Number one was that I knew that my goal, my end goal, was that I was going to make money and not be location dependent. Number two was that I wanted to do it so that I am the one that's responsible. I'm tired of going to work in the corporate office. I'm tired of working on Wall Street, and my reward always depended on somebody else's performance. And usually they suck, they're lazy, and they don't have the drive and the ambition and the motivation that I do. So I did not want to do anything where it relies on someone else's efforts. I want to rely on my effort and my responsibility only. Okay, so that was the reason why I did not quit and give up on trading. Number three was I did not want to be limited. In other words, when I worked if you work at a McDonald's, you have a minimum wage job, and that's the limit. If you work as a doctor, a general practitioner, your limit is around $125,000, $130,000, $150,000 a year. And then even if you are a manager, you make $200,000. If you're a developer, there's always a limit in everything that you do to make money. There's always a limit. And trading was the only money-making skill that I did not see a limit. Like, the market, when there's an opportunity in the market, I can make 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million. It's only up to me and the amount of capital and the amount of work that I want to put in and the effort that I put in. So I'm not going to be reaching my limits anytime soon in trading. Okay, so that was another reason. So number one, location independence. Number two is 100%. I'm responsible for 100% of my efforts. Okay, I'm responsible for my money and nobody else. And number three was that there was no ceiling, there was no limit to how much money I can make. So because of that, I never quit and gave up. Even though I lost my account multiple times, I just knew that I was coming close. Now, keep in mind, guys, there was like a couple of times where, I was so stressed out from trading that in the mornings my hair would fall out, right? I would lose sleep. I had my my second and my third heart attack. My first heart attack, everybody asked me what's the cause of it. I would say it was the years in prison, the stress of being in prison, and always having to worry about fighting and protecting yourself. That caused a lot of stress, and that probably caused my first heart attack. The second and third heart attack, I know for sure, man, that the stress from trading and not being able to make money in trading caused that. Okay, or was a big contributor to it. If it didn't cause it, it was a huge contributor to it. Okay, so in 2016-17, when I finally made it big in trading, I learned. I looked at the years that I spent being stressed out, learning how to trade, and it has really, really paid off. Now, I get to live the life that I want to live. I'm location independent. I make enough life-changing profits to take care of myself, my family, my kids, and live wherever I want and do whatever it is I want to do. Okay, so when you guys have a failure or a setback in your trading, the first thing I recommend that you guys do is review your goals. Review the reasons why you got into trading. Why did you take the time to learn this skill? If you are one of our students, if you invested into the cryptocurrency investing blueprint, which is the course that we teach, right? In the cryptocurrency investing blueprint, I share everything that we did on our team to become consistently profitable traders in the crypto market. So I highly recommend that if there's anything that you want to do to improve your trading skills, to learn from it. If you're learning from this video, imagine learning what we did, what we can teach in 4 days. If you had 4 days with me, right? And I share with you everything that I know, and I answer every question that you have about trading. Imagine what you can learn from that. All right. So if you want to get a copy of that, you can get a copy at www.cryptocurrency.market/blueprint. Okay, get your copy today and stop trying to figure it out on your own, so you can reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to learn how to become a consistently profitable trader. Now, when you guys are learning, right, when you guys run into a failure or a setback in your trading career, I invite you guys to go back and ask yourself, why did you get into trading? What was the cause? What was the reason? What is the goal? What is it that you value about trading that inspired you to take the time to learn trading, follow me on my channel, or invest into our blueprint, or attend one of our trading boot camps? What inspired you to do this? Okay, and if that goal or that reason is strong enough, then that will encourage you not to quit and give up on your trading. Okay, that will really make you reason. Okay, and the second thing is that you gotta ask yourself is that if you are able to succeed at this skill and you're able to do the trading that you want to do and be able to live the life that you want to live, right? Is that worth it to you? Because what happens is a lot of times people talk about they want to learn how to trade because they hear someone else talking about it, or they see somebody else online talking about it, but they really are not serious about it. Okay, they to show you how serious I am, right? When like I said, I paid the drug smugglers to smuggle the trading books into the prison so I can read it. Does that show I'm serious? Right? When I got out of prison and I was working as a bouncer at a dance club, at the end of the night, when I was waiting for my ride, I would take out my technical analysis books and I would read it at 3 o'clock in the morning while I was waiting for the ride, or while I was waiting for everyone else to finish their work so the manager can release us from work and we can go home. Instead of sitting there drinking, or instead of sitting there and bullshitting around and talking shit and gossiping, I would sit there and read my technical analysis books. and learn technical analysis and learn how to read candlesticks. When I was when they had a conference, and I lived at that time, I was living in the city of Austin, and they had a conference in the city of Houston. Okay, I got off work at 4 o'clock in the morning. I drove to the other city, and I slept in the hotel parking garage for like an hour, and woke up and went and attended the conference and the meeting so I can learn what I need to learn in trading. So what it comes down to is, whenever you have a failure or a setback in your trading, the only thing I can invite you to do is look at your goals and see if they're really what you want. Is that really what you want? And the other thing is that how serious are you about obtaining those goals? For me, being able to be location independent and being able to make money where I didn't have to rely on somebody else for their responsibility and I'm responsible for me, that was so important to me that I never gave up. Okay, and that there was no limits on how much money I can make. I never gave up. Okay, so I hope that this video shares with you guys ways and to look and see how to overcome the setbacks and the failures you have when you encounter trading hurdles. All right, thanks for watching this video. And like I said, if you guys want to learn more about how we trade, you can get a copy of the Cryptocurrency Investing Blueprint at www.cryptocurrency.market/blueprint. Thank you.